Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. This is Beth Wee in the Koinonia Kitchen, and we're going to do an overview of Step 11 today. You know, if you're looking at the books of the organization Alcoholics Anonymous, in their 12 steps and 12 traditions, the first sentence on Step 11 is that prayer and meditation are our principal means of conscious contact with God. What does that mean? It means that prayer and meditation are two vehicles that can get us to God. And that's a pretty important place to get to, especially if you want to have a happy and usefully whole life. Overcoming the addiction or the compulsive behavior that you're using the 12 steps to combat. So conscious contact with a power greater than yourself is going to happen by the means of using prayer and meditation. Some of you listening may be agnostic or were once agnostic, and you're not quite convinced there's a higher power outside of your 12-step group. To you, I'm going to ask you to try prayer and meditation anyway. They say the only scoffers at it are people who haven't tried it. I'm going to go to Herbert Spencer and say, don't have contempt prior to investigation. At least give it a go. If you know how they say, if you try it for 3 months and it doesn't help, they'll gladly refund whatever you were at before. It's not going to hurt you. It may help you. And it's part of opening our mind. What we did in Step 2 to open our mind, to try things that work for other people, this might be one of them. When you think about what a human being needs to live, we're going to say food, air, and light are 3 of the essentials. And in the books of Alcoholics Anonymous, they mention those 3 things. But they utilize them in a different way. They say that the light that we need is God's reality instead of our reality. Coming out of addiction and being at Step 11 in the process of recovery, that self-centered thinking is starting to abate. And we're starting to look at the world at large. We're starting to see the world, even if we don't play into whatever's happening in front of us. We're able to see the world without having to go through our own Beth-colored glasses or whatever they are, the perspective that has you involved. I'm not involved in everything in this big, beautiful world. And I can focus on negative, positive. I can look at it however I want. But when I'm in the light, I'm looking at God's reality. And God's reality brings me back to the principles behind the 12 steps, namely honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, brotherly love, good discipline and good judgment, perseverance, and now awareness. So when I become aware, I am seeing things that are outside of my own head, outside of my own understanding, outside of my own vision and perspective. That's God's reality. God sees way more than I can. Whatever God is, I'm sure that huge mind of intention, of creation, sees the world in a different way than I do. And I want to be in that reality. I want to walk in that reality. I want love and service and those principles we talked about to be part of my day in and day out life. The food that I need, if the light is God's reality, the food I need is the nourishment of God's strength. I can do with God what I couldn't do on my own. If you're an alcoholic or an addict or have a compulsive behavior that's been taking you over, like gambling or sex addiction or whatever it is, for you to get time clean means that you have been leaning on the nourishment of the strength of the higher power. That is going to be like our food. Just like what we eat fuels our body, the food, the nourishment of God's strength is going to fuel our recovery. And then air. I need oxygen. I need to breathe in. I need trees to survive because I need the oxygen they put out when they take in my carbon dioxide that I'm putting out. And what that is likened to is the atmosphere of God's grace. That I am in God's reality, leaning on His strength, and in the atmosphere of His grace. They had that little saying a while back that how do you know what God is like? And the first guy said, God is just. You get what you deserve. And somebody said, oh, okay, I'll go with that. And then they were seeking. They kept seeking, and they came across someone who said, oh, no, God is merciful. God is mercy. You don't get what you deserve. And the person thought, oh, wow, I'm going to go with that. God is merciful. I like that better than just. And then the last person said, no, God is just. God is merciful. But mostly, God is about grace. You get what you don't deserve. And that's the atmosphere in which a person practicing the 12 steps and seeking a higher power and trying to find conscious connection with that higher power is going to live within the grace of God. Again, the books of Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 Steps and the 12 Traditions, and the book Alcoholics Anonymous, they mention that there is a direct linkage among self-examination, which is something we talked about in the overview of Step 10, meditation and prayer. Meditation and prayer is Step 11. So what they're saying is there's a direct linkage between Step 10 and Step 11. And when logically related and interwoven, the practitioner, if they use those two steps together, will be blessed with, are you ready for this? An unshakable foundation for life. I want that. I want an unshakable foundation for life. I want to build on solid ground. I want to build my life on solid ground. If you're new to recovery and you're just rebuilding your life, wouldn't it be great to start on solid ground instead of on sand? And that's what we're talking about here. I suggest to you a journaling technique I call spiritual heat. All you have to do is get a journal, a composition book, something to write in every day. It will take 10 or 15 minutes. I do mine in the morning. And I just use the word heat, spiritual heat, H. I honor my higher power. Sometimes I write the words to a song like How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You by James Taylor. Or maybe I'll write a prayer that I'm feeling or just a glory thing, a hallelujah kind of thing. Just something to let God know I know He's God and that I'm awestruck that He's included me in knowing Him. And then the E is examination. I do a mini 10th step there every day. What were my wins and losses for the last 24 hours? Where did I live my priorities? Where did I drop the ball? What could I have done better? Where was my emotions? Where were my emotions high? Where were they targeted and balanced? These are all things that I can look at to see how I'm making progress. And then I ask. A is for ask. H-E-A, ask. I ask for blessing on the people I love. I have a list of people, and if I tell you I'm going to pray for you, I just write your name on this list. I know the higher power knows what you need way more than I do. So I ask. And then T is for thank. I write 5 things about which I'm grateful for every day. 5 new things if I can. Because gratitude is an attitude that changes the way I live. So that's getting us going where you can practice steps 10 and 11 together. Journaling is a form of prayer. So keep that in mind. And contemplating the higher power is a form of meditation. Thinking about the higher power, that little honest, the first part, the H, the heat, the honoring the higher power. So how are we going to meditate? In some of the literature of Alcoholics Anonymous, the first people that had great experiences with the 12 steps of recovery, they suggested that we look at the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. It's a beautiful prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. Now that's the prayer they suggested. And they suggest that we take that prayer. You can get a copy of it anywhere. Just Google the prayer of St. Francis and it will come up for you. And if you're beginning in meditation, read the prayer slowly and try to understand that what St. Francis was writing. Drop resistance, because in meditation, there is no place for debate. You're not fighting something out in your head. You're actually trying to relax your mind and contemplate, think about your higher power. It's funny, when we were drunk or high or using or running or whatever the thing you started using the 12 steps for, think about the plans you made. Maybe you wrote them on a cocktail napkin, or you were planning a road trip with a buddy, or that's a form of meditation, guys. Believe it or not, that is a form of meditation. So don't tell me that you can't meditate. Have you ever been worried? That is a form of meditation. So what I'm telling you is use your meditation for good. Constructive meditation, constructive imagination is like planning that road trip with your buddy. You can still do that, but now you can focus on how you can move forward and what you can contribute to life now that you're clean, sober, abstinent, not engaging in the compulsive behavior. Now you can actually add something to the mix, and you can think about it first. That, my friend, is a form of meditation. And meditation can always be further developed. Just give it a start. If you keep trying to clear your mind to meditate, not everybody is successful with that method. I know that that's a method that's taught in a lot of places. I think you'll do much better to try to focus on one thought, one idea, something good, something that you love. If you're a beginner, maybe you have a child in your life that you really love. Think about the child. Think about their smile. Think about a goofy thing they say or a funny thing they do or how they look when they were trying to dance to music, whatever it is. Focusing on that child is a form of meditation. And you can, if you don't have a child in your life, think of a place you like to be. Are you far from the ocean, but you love the ocean? Think about the ocean. Try to imagine the waves rolling in. Think about the shells on the beach. Think about a boat in the distance. Think about the sun coming up, whatever it is. But you have things that you like, and you can focus on those things. That will teach you meditation. You know, try breathing. Breathe in deeply. Breathe in faith. When you breathe out fear. Try something simple. This simple practice of meditation can restore calm in the moment of anxiety. Breathe in faith. Breathe out fear. Meditation doesn't have to be sitting cross-legged for hours at a time, though it can be if that's what you want it to be. The most important thing is that you start the practice in a way that will make you feel comfortable so that you will repeat it every day. Now, what about prayer? Prayer is the lifting of your heart and your mind to God. It's actually meditation in that sense, but it's more of a communication between you and God. Sometimes people think it's a petition to God, and it can be something that you're asking God for help with, or asking God to give you the power to carry out whatever you see the next thing that He is asking of you. But I encourage you to be careful with asking for specifics, that this one can get sober, or that one can get a car, or because you limit His hand. Just ask God for that person. Bless that person. Bless that person. Your blessing carries great weight in the spiritual realm. Sometimes I think I know best when I'm praying, and I ask God to do things my way. And I'm in that case, I'm forgetting the dynamics of my relationship with God. He is God. I am, wouldn't it be wonderful if I could say I am his servant? I am at least his child. I'm asking for a specific thing means that I think I know what's best. And I gotta be honest, when I look at my track record, I haven't always known what's best. Sometimes the deepest places of despair is where God did the best work in my life. So be gentle with yourself. Always add, if it be thy will, or if it be your will, however is comfortable for you to say. And when you continue through your day, pause when you have to make a decision or you have some situation is becoming very demanding. Just pause and just say, God, your will now, because I'm feeling anxious. Your will, please come and help me know your will and let me carry it out. Sometimes emotions block my channel. I'm angry or I'm fearful or frustrated and I can repeat a phrase or something that makes me feel better. I can just ask God to please come, please come, please come, please come. And I'll say it like that, almost rocking as I say it. And it's a form of prayer and meditation combined because I'm using my body, I'm using my mind, and I'm asking without expecting. I just want the presence of the Almighty God. And that will usually get me back on track. Can't we just go to God and get an answer? I mean, sometimes those thoughts that I think God is giving me are really my ego messing with me again. My ego is tenacious, guys. I've been trying to put it down since I started working the 12 steps, and now here I am at step 11, and my ego is still talking to me. Don't be upset by that. That's human. That is a human. That's part of our nature. But please, don't give God the boundaries of your own understanding. He is way bigger than us, and he can see stuff that we can't see. Some of the benefits of prayer is that we get strong, and it's not our own strength. We get wisdom, and it's not just something we grew up knowing. And we have peace of mind, and that can come even in the face of difficulties. So prayer and meditation, I think one of the most important words, and I haven't mentioned it, is conscious. When I'm conscious, I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm trying to connect on purpose. On purpose. I am fully present in the moment of trying to connect. For some of us, we learned prayers that are rote, and we say them over and over. Are you conscious when you're saying them? It's okay to use a rote prayer. Be conscious when you're saying it. Think about what the words mean. We hear a word like, God grant me the serenity to accept the things you cannot change, courage to change the things I can, the wisdom. We say some prayers so many times over and over that we don't think about what they mean. Be conscious if you're using rote prayer. There's going to be times in our lives when we can't pray. It's like a rebellion inside us. We can't get the words out. Don't worry, but talk to your network. Tell your friends, I'm having trouble praying. Please pray for me. Ask for them to help you stay connected. And other people can help you stay connected. That's why it's important to have that network of friends, that network of seekers that also want life with a higher power so that they are stronger to face their own addictions or compulsive behaviors. That is what's going to make the difference. One of the greatest rewards of prayer and meditation when it's conscious is this sense of belonging that comes. Guys, that's probably why some of you picked up your behavior or your substance. You wanted to fit in. I'm telling you, you will fit in unlike ever before when you get good at prayer and meditation. The books of Alcoholics Anonymous say it's here that you can be rocketed to the fourth dimension of the program. What does that mean? It means that you'll have new ways of understanding, and you'll have new ways of intimate knowledge and intuition. It's a beautiful place to be, consciously connecting with your source. So I ask you, try it today, prayer and meditation, and be conscious about it. And when you do discover God's will for you, don't forget to ask Him for the power to carry it out. It's time to take addiction out of the shadows and shine the encouraging light of recovery on everyone affected. Good Seed Podcast is powered by BethWE.com, a nonprofit ministry based in Vero Beach, Florida. We'll start the uncomfortable conversations that turn despair into hope and complacency into action. Connect, communicate, and thrive with us. Check us out online at BethWE.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk again soon.